Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, and welcome back to Knuston Farm. Although I'm told it could just as easily be Knuston or possibly Knuston. So we don't know. I'll just say Knuston from here on out. Is that a train? I think it is. It's not this thing, is it? No, it's coming from the left. It's got to be a train. Fantastic. Right, so this is our 9870. This is a new one. I believe it's by the same mod maker because it's got a lot of the same things. It's got this oversized sticker on the back, I think is the giveaway. But it comes in under a different name as far as the mod itself. So it's tricky when that happens because I sometimes end up with multiple copies of the same mod or new versions, or you know what I'm saying? Can be a little tricky because I don't want my mod folder to get too complicated and too full. But what can you do? Hey, here's something funny. So John Deere 6R, I want to say. Let's take a look. Oh, other one. There we go. This is 300 horsepower. This is our little tractor. We're just using this to haul the header trailer. It's horsepower, man. That's what these big maps will do to you. All right, so let's get this thing pivoted around. We'll get the header off this combine harvester. Take it back to the yard. We did bring in all our soybeans, and we got about €500,000 for all of them. We took our lorry down to the sell point, like, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times, and it's 60,000 liters per box. So what is that? Yeah, about 400,000 at €1,200 per ton. So yeah, about $500,000 we got. I mean, we spent a fortune bringing it in. We're still buried in debt, but Rome wasn't built in a day, yo. So what is going on as far as farm sim? We may keep this map going. I like it. I do. I just don't know if it's going to make for good video long term. But then again, I don't know if I can make good videos at all, so it's a bit of a gray area. But it's pretty tough sledding on this map, I have to say. It's pretty slow play, and I don't know if that is something that's going to work. I don't want to say there's not a lot to do, and it's not a bad map. It's a good map. I like it. It's just a big map. It's a big farming map, and I don't know if it would work for the channel long term. But we could certainly try it. And you know what's funny is I tried Oakfield for FS19. I downloaded that and fired it up. And I was going to use, I guess, slightly bigger equipment than what we're using on Holzer map. But not terribly bigger. Certainly not as big as what we're using here. And then I realized that some of the fields on Oakfield are nearly as big as these fields. So you really do need massive equipment. And I remember playing it in 17, and I didn't use equipment that big. I was using like 6 meter and 9 meter, but I wasn't using this massive equipment. Case in point, there you go. We're going to make it here. Let's take a look outside. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room. So we could do Oakfield. I spent a lot of time on Oakfield in 17. I liked it. I really did. I don't know. I'm still waiting for the mod contest. There are rumored to be a couple good British maps that are going to drop, and that's only, end of July, 2 months away. I mean, we could do another map in the meantime, but it would only be 8 episodes if we did one per week, so I don't know. Everything's up in the air, as always. It's only a YouTube channel. It's not anything to take that seriously. So let me see. We'll see one other new tractor that I got off camera. I did sell the Holmer Terra variant. You want to know why? This is hilarious. It wasn't quite big enough. That is funny because that thing is so big. So this is what we got. Set the brake here. This is what we got. John Deere 9 articulated, which is probably just a Challenger or possibly a T9 or something. I don't know. But we went ahead and got that. And there is, well, we'll get into that. Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to get a sprayer, a wisher, and that is going to be under what? Miscellaneous? Sure enough. And we'll just put it right here. Hopefully this doesn't crash the game. It's, Things are always interesting on the farm. Let me see. Let's zoom in a little bit here. And I imagine that's because of that door. Where does it want to be? Does it want to be right there? A little rotation. Nah, that's not the best place for it. I'm not feeling great about that. How about over here somewhere? No? What about on the end? Like over here some, yeah, that's a little better. That's a little better. Just someplace where it makes sense, you know? Where would you put a power washer? I'd put one right there. Actually, I'd put one right there. Yeah, right on the corner. Right on the corner. Perfect. So now, back in this thing. Did it turn off already? Interesting. Interesting. I wonder what the timeout is. So we're going to get up here and what else? Oh, I swapped out. We have a big Samson, and I saw somebody modded a big Samson slurry sprayer. And it looks like somebody modded it. They increased the capacity. They added some color options and some wheel options, I believe. So I went ahead and got one of those. And we're going to start with that. And I also brought course play back in. Oh, that dirt texture. Making mods is hard. I don't doubt it. If you hear me, sounds like I'm throwing a little shade on a mod. I'm not. I mean, I want to give you an honest assessment of what I'm seeing if you're thinking about downloading some of these mods. But I also know it's a lot of work, and people do it. They do it for love, not money. And so I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, insult anybody. But every now and then you see some things on a mod and it's like, oh, that's rough. But it's hard making mods. It really is. I mean, it's I've done basic stuff. I put a light bar on a JCB that I really like, and it took some effort and some help, you know. So the idea of making a mod from the ground up, it's not a small thing. And they're right about in there, right? Set the brake. Turn her off. What else did we get? Yeah, we've got our 7. We've got our 8. Oh, we got this thing. We're going to use that because next crop is going to be corn. We're putting all corn in next. And we're going to do a big silage harvest. I did bring courseplay back in for that reason. And I feel like we need it if we're going to... Oi. Frame rating. I'm having a hard time speaking today. Hang on. Let me have some coffee and see if that helps. Right. So frame rate is really taking a beating, and I don't know if it's this map. I don't know if it's... I just had new drivers come in. I had new drivers come in, and then I got a blue screen of death within 15 minutes. So I went ahead and checked, and my BIOS was slightly out of date. So I updated my BIOS. Let's go digestate. I believe it's a little cheaper. And these are what we're filling right now. These are let's hop out and take a look. These are the Big John tanks specifically for this tractor. And I just noticed. No, it clears it. Maybe. Goes right into that flag on the bottom there. Right, those filled up a little too fast. I might go in and adjust that. One of my mandatory mods in 17 was the slow refueling mod. I like when things take their appropriate time to happen. So things like, getting fuel, obviously. Or filling those tanks or emptying a combine harvester, that sort of stuff. I like when that process is kind of stately. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's see if we're in the trigger. And we are. Digestate. So this is going to take a minute because this is... I bumped it to, either 50,000 or 60,000. I can't remember. In base game, I want to say this is a 35,000 liter tank, and then you can bump it up. Oh, and I also got it in John Deere Green. to match up with everything. So yeah, you know what? Let's set the brake and step outside, because that's going to be working. I got, in preparation for our silage harvest, I did get a big silage trailer. We've got those bales back there. All they're doing is dinging our frame rate. I can't imagine that we're ever going to use them. So we could get rid of those bales, and then we could sell that bale trailer, I suppose. That would speed things up a little bit. Oh, what else is new? Nothing really. I've got that broadcast spreader over there that we're just using for lime, really, at the moment. We don't have a need to spread pellet fert or anything. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. And I figure these fields are square enough. I'm going to risk a boom sprayer. I do struggle with these. I really do. You'll see. You'll see in a minute. So now we got a boom sprayer on an articulated tractor. This could be an absolute catastrophe. But you know what? Wouldn't be the first one. Wow, it's taking a long time to fill. So it goes. So it goes. In news that is not farming related, a set of Corsa Competizione drops today, and the controversy is, it's swelling. People are really pissed about that multiplayer thing. And Kunos and 505 are taking the position of, hey, we didn't really say it was just going to be a multiplayer race sim. We didn't really say this was going to be the iRacing killer. And I've done some crisis management in my time, reputation management. Clients have come to me when things are not going well for them from a brand and marketing perspective, and I've helped them out with that. And I can tell you that when you're doing that kind of damage control, when you're making statements like, hey, we never really said, you got problems. Your message has become distorted at some point, whether you intended it to, right? Whether you really were playing games or whether you just didn't handle your communication collateral properly. If you're making statements like that, you got problems. So it's we'll see, but the chatter at the moment is, why did you wait until a week before the game was released to tell us this? Or were you trying to keep it a secret? And then the other thing is, well, if it doesn't have fantastic multiplayer, what do I need it for? You know, it's a single series game, very limited cars, very limited tracks. And it's not, they keep saying it's not a Assetto Corsa 2, so it's never going to have a lot of other cars or tracks. It's only ever going to be that single series, right? So the only draw, the only real attraction was multiplayer, and now it sounds like we don't even have that, at least not in a good configuration. There aren't going to be scheduled multiplayer races. And then that led me to, in a thread, people were talking about a mod. I won't say the name of it because I'm going to shit talk it a little bit, but a mod for Assetto Corsa that facilitates matchmaking as far as skill rating, safety rating, various other things. And several people in the threads that I was on said, look, man, if a modder can do this in their spare time for free, how were you not able to do it, right, with a big budget, a big game development budget? Let me see. How do we want to do this? I kind of want to use GPS for this. So first things first, let's get this open. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Let's see how we do here. I would like to go straight across the field right here. Right about here. I'm sorry about that draw circle. I'd fix it if I could. I think we want to be actually over a little bit. Yeah, I need to be zoomed out on account of those booms, but I know that the draw distance can really be kind of a buzzkill, and I do apologize. I'm trying to get lined up so that when we get to the opposite side of the field, the boom clears the hedges on the left side, and it seems like we're just, well, shit. At this point, let's just go ahead the rest of the way across the field and flip it around because we can work off the hedges now. Yeah. Yeah, always just figuring stuff out in Farm Sim. You know that, living and learning. That's what we do. So this matchmaking mod for Assetto Corsa, I went to check it out, and I have no, I don't really, I mean, I'm not opposed to multiplayer in Assetto Corsa. Don't hit the trees. Perfect. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't really have a need for it now because I'm deep into iRacing for multiplayer. But I still wanted to check it out, and it was interesting because two things struck me. Concentrating. Right, just about a jackknife, but we caught it. So let's get this straightened out, and let's use our GPS. We'll play with it a little bit. So we want 36 meter. Okay, and there's no click and hold, so we got to go manually, but that's not a big deal. 36, I think that's all we need from here. I think that's all we need. Then we're going to go here. We're going to reduce our flow. Oh, that's interesting. That's mapped to the M key, so now we got to get this back in. That's up and down, that's left and right. There we go. Does that? Nope, that's that one. Okay. Wow, this is getting increasingly complicated. Right, so now we want this. Okay, all right, that's looking good. We go here, we turn this on, and we lower this. Before we do that, let's set our cruise control. Right there. Right, so we're locked in. We lower, and here we go. So far, so good. So this matchmaking mod, I went to the website and it's got a login wall. And of course, I didn't do that. I had a bad experience with a login wall just a few days ago on an iRacing setup site. And a login wall, if you're not familiar with it, it's as soon as you get to the site, it says, you know, to go any further, you have to enter your information, your email. And I talk about marketing a lot. I'm going to talk about it right now. From a marketing perspective, that's a bad look. And the reason it's a bad look is people don't even know what you're about at that point. You can't start asking people to do things for you before you've told them, showed them what you can do for them. It's a bit like asking people to pay for the meal before they've seen the menu. Well, let me take a look at the menu and decide if I want to eat here at all. Let me take a look at the menu and be impressed. And then I'll order my meal, and if I liked it, then I'll pay you. But to say, you know, this restaurant is so good that you have to prepay before we even let you see what you're going to get, people would just turn around and walk out, which is what I did. I don't know what this site is about. I don't know what it does. I'm not entirely convinced that this is the mod for me, right? So before we get into you having my information, which honestly you want so you can spam me or so you can sell it, which is fine. That's business. But before we get into all that, let me see what I'm getting. And I think a lot of people that run websites, a lot of people that run web businesses don't quite get that. They don't understand that you've got to make it clear to people what they're getting before you start telling them what you want from them. So, and I guess some of the pushback on that is, hey, it's expensive to run this website. It's, you know, it cost me a lot to develop this mod. And I have to say, again, from a brand and communication perspective, people don't care. If it's expensive to run your business, then don't run it, right? Shut it down. Nobody cares how hard you have it. Nobody cares what your expenses are. When people walk into a business, when people go to a website to do business with it, the only thing they want to know is, what can you do for me? And if you can't deal with that as a business owner, then you shouldn't be in business. And we've moved away from that, I have to say, over this past generation. I think a lot of business owners, they don't seem to understand that they work for their customers. They're not doing anybody any favors. They're working for money. And the fact that they are the boss rather than they have a boss, who cares? You know, nobody cares. People want to know what you can do for them. So I did not spend any time on that site for that mod. But something else that I was kind of struck by is, you know, when I was reading, oh, don't hit the trees. We're going to clear. There's a little fence back there too. Oh, just barely, just barely. When I was reading the reviews for this mod, people said it works fantastic, right? And then I got to thinking, well, wait a minute. This is a mod for Assetto Corsa that you have to install yourself, and looks like it works through Content Manager, which is another sort of inclusive mod. And I got to thinking, and again, this is a marketing thing. You know, I've had a lot of people that have hired me over the years come at me and say, well, you know, our research shows, or this indicates, or that indicates. And I always ask them, have you normalized? Have you equalized? Have you, right? Have you adjusted your data to actually mean something, or are you just looking at the raw numbers and seeing what you want to see? And as I was thinking about this mod for Assetto Corsa that facilitates matchmaking, people say, oh, it's fantastic. It's great for safety rating. It's great for skill rating. It's awesome. It does all these things. And then I realized the complexity of even finding it. I mean, I've been on Assetto Corsa pretty seriously for a few years now. This is literally the first I've heard of it. And I think, okay, so it's not super well publicized. It's a mod, so you have to know how to install a mod. I'm assuming it does not work on console, right? So there's all these other things. And I think, well, of course, it works well for the people that are using it, because the people that are using it are pretty damn serious about their sim racing. And so it's automatically filtered out the jamokes, because you see what I'm getting at? This is not a casual thing that people just stumble into. This is kind of a big ask, as they say. So it's automatically, oh, tricky. There we go. Oh, sort of. This is ugly. So simply finding the mod and getting it installed has already sort of put you in the category of a person who's serious about your racing. So then would it be any surprise that you would be matched up with other people that have also installed the mod who are also serious about their racing? All right, something to ponder. We're going to go right through these telegraph masts. I don't know how you feel about that, but we're going to do it, and I'll tell you why. When these were put in, the map maker put them in without collision, and I'm just going to go with it. The first time I thought about this really was the telegraph masts on Coldborough Park in Field 9. And I remember I was watching a YouTuber and he was kind of bemoaning those, and I said, just go into Giants Editor and make them take the collision off to make them non-collidable. And we discussed, I mean, there was no hostility or tension or anything. We just discussed like the relative merits of that. Now, since then, Courseplay has come up with the island avoidance feature, but I don't know how this particular whip that we're doing right now, I don't know how it would deal with that. So we're just going to go through them. We're going to lose the immersion a little bit, but this is kind of a fun test map. I'm not sweating it. I'm not sweating it at all. So yeah, I got to thinking about that mod and got to thinking about the way different sims appeal to different audiences, different mods appeal to different audiences, and without knowing it, you can sometimes be selecting or filtering your audience simply by your mod being what it is or your game being what it is. And you got to be careful with that you don't bobed. I don't know what's going on there. Hang on. Let me try this again. You've got to be tricky. Oh yeah, we are like hopelessly jackknifed. I'm just going to turn it around. I don't know what's going on there. And then now is this one? Yep, that's not collidable either. Okay. So yeah, just got me thinking. And all of it came from seeing some of the communication back from Kunos about Assetto Corsa Competizione, and it seems like they've made themselves a mess, and they should have hired me because I could have helped them out with that. But they didn't call, so you know, what are you going to do? Maybe next time. Right. And we're actually going to do one more, maybe two more passes. And we'll get as much of this field done as we can, and then I'm going to hop on the, we've got a JD9 on tracks. We're going to hop in there, and we've got a great big, do we want to do that? Yeah, I guess we could. We've got a great big cultivator we're going to get going. And then if we have time, I'm going to take this 9 that we're in right now and take it over and hook it up to our... We got a ripper. In the US, they call it a ripper with a fertilizer injector, and we're going to start that on the other field. I think that may be a manual process for that entire job. Reason being, like this rig that we're on right now, I don't know that Courseplay or a hired worker would have any luck with it at all. I think it would be just an absolute craptastic experience. I just don't. I don't think AI or Courseplay could figure out some of the articulation points and the length of it and headlands and everything else. So we'll just do it manually. And you know, it's funny, this sim is so funny to me. It always will be, because let me see if I can back up a little better here. Oh, I know what it's doing. It's not releasing from the GPS quickly enough, and it's jackknifing like the second that I start to back up, and then I'm just trying to recover, chasing the dragon at that point. Right. There we go. That's a little better. A little better. This game is funny because we want to farm. I mean, obviously we want to farm. We're playing a farm sim, right? And then we get certain tasks, and it's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that farm task. Okay. All right. Don't do it. So I think, yeah, we're close enough to the edge of the field that I'm going to try to... Oh, this is going to be... Let's have some fun. Cover your ears, darling. When we get down to the end here, let's go ahead and make a turn to the left and start our headland. And I don't think we'll be able to make it all the way around. But that corner right there, the inside corner on the right, and then the outside corner on the left, and then the very sharp inside corner further up. If we have enough digestate to make it up there, oh, this will be interesting. This will be fun, because these things, I don't know. I mean, it's geometry, but I guess almost the magnification of the swing at the tips of the sprayer is pretty tricky for me under the best of circumstances. And then you throw on an articulated tractor, and I'm just a goober. But we're going to make our best effort here. I knew these headlands would be a little ragged as far as overspray and missing some bits, but if we got 500,000 out of these fields last time around, I think we'll be okay, because we're going to get even more for a silage harvest. Right. And we're just about to run out of digestate too, so all right. I'm going to have to miss a little bit, because I just can't get the tip into the corner and then get it to swing exactly 90 degrees. So yeah, we're gonna miss just a little bit, but then I don't want to hook this tree. Oh, barely. And then we got this one, and I think that'll be us just about out of digestate. So we'll go ahead and get this thing parked. I'll get the GPS lines turned off as well. Outside corner's a little bit better. Beautiful. Right, so let's turn this off. Fold it. We can zoom in a little bit now. And then if we go in here, we're going to say off. There we go. And those will turn off in just a second, hopefully. So let's do this. We'll park this on the road. We'll get in our 9 on tracks. Half this field is fertilized now, so we can put this thing on that half of the field, and it's got a ways to go. A long ways to go, so I'm not worried about it running out of field to work on. So let's put this right here. Yeah, you see, and it's not quite stuttering, but it's just looking a little flickery. I'm curious if that has anything to do with my drivers. Did I finish telling you that? Yeah, I got new drivers. I had a BSOD, and then it turns out my BIOS was out of date, so I updated my BIOS and some various other things, and it's all cool and wonderful. Right. It's all cool and wonderful as far as my system running, but I'm curious if that's why we're getting a little bit of a stuttering frame rate. So if we go right down about here, yeah, we'll need to do this little bit. Well, we'll get it on the headland, because it doesn't matter whether, yeah, it doesn't matter whether we cultivate before or after we spread, it will still count as a layer. Okay, cool, this works. This works. I don't know why I'm starting from this side of the field again. I could have started from over there, but so it goes. Right, let's get this unfolded. And this is 12 meter, I think 500 horsepower is the requirement, and this tractor is like 5 1/4. So we should be okay. But I am curious how it's going to handle the corners. Right, yeah, for a headland, let's go right up here. Carefully. Yeah, right about like that. That black line that you see periodically on the screen, I found I think it was for the 1.3 patch, or maybe just before, but I found a comment from Giants that essentially said, that black line on the screen, yeah, just deal with it. We know it's there. All right. I will just deal with it then, since you know it's there. Right, we're just going to put this on a simple worker. Here we go. Seems to be doing all right, and we're going to follow. Whoa, we got a long way to go across here. But the reason I want to follow is I want to make sure it turns the right direction, which is going to be to the left. Leap of faith. I want to make sure it turns to the left, which would be the west, or the south, southwest, as you do. Let me have some coffee. And then from here, we'll take our new 9, hook it up to our new ripper, and just do a couple passes in field number 1 to see how the thing works. It's incredibly long. I'm curious how that all comes together. Wow, I didn't even plan it this way, but look how close we are to the edge of where we fertilized. That was blind luck, as most things are in my world, and it really worked out. Fantastic. So we got Crazy Ivan coming up here, and yeah, it'll be, even at 12 meters, this will take a minute. This will take a minute. It's fun to play with this big equipment. I don't know that it would continue to be fun for a long, long time, and harvesting these 3 fields, even with the biggest equipment that I could afford, which is just about the biggest equipment I have. Yeah, it is. I think there's some stuff from the big bud pack. There's like, hang on, let me see which way we turn here. Oh, the tension. Which way you going, buddy? Perfect. So I think if we go, yeah, some of the stuff from the big bud pack is, yeah, like this thing, 25 meters. Nah, we're not going that big, but we're going big. We're going big. And it still took hours and hours to harvest those 3 fields, to the point where it's almost, maybe it would be more fun multiplayer if you had people carting for you. I suppose a lot of things about this game are more fun in multiplayer, but it got a little, you know what I'm saying? It got a little. So let's drop this and take the brake off. And I suppose, I don't know if you would ever really do this, but I'm going to leave these tanks out here, because we We absolutely do not need them. And I don't know that I want to haul them around. And I want to say this ripper that we got is, it does have a dolly up front, so there really won't be a ton of weight on the 3-point anyway. So we don't need a weight up front. Can't remember exactly. There's been a lot of new equipment on this map. What else is going on? Yeah, I think that's about it. I covered everything. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the mod contest. I'm looking forward to those British maps that are coming out. I haven't heard a ton about any of them. A little bit. I've seen some teaser videos, but not a ton. And I'm curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Yeah, that's a little stuttery. A little stuttery. I do apologize. We see wheels under there? No, we really don't. Okay. So that big box of fert is going to be... I think this thing can handle it. What's this thing weigh in real life? Probably 20 tons. Yeah. No problem. I do have to go down here to turn around, though. And mindful of the tail whip, but I think we're doing okay. Right. Over to field 1. What do we want to do? I mean, when we put things on workers, we tend to, or at least I tend to, do the headland first because workers like to drive off into the far yonder. But I think... because we're doing this manually, we can... oh, and because we have GPS now. Ah, fantastic. So, let's go right here. Now, something that I wonder about with this thing is... God, that's big. That is really big. That thing's got to be, what, 60 feet long? It's 12 meters wide. Is it 12 meters? I can't even remember. Subsoiler. It is 6 meters wide. Okay. Look how long it is. And I don't know what the... I don't know where the function is as far as the length of it. So we go back here to 6 meters. Yeah, everything's good. I don't know where, because it looks like, I'll hop out and show you. So if I was thinking, I would say this is the ripper function of it. This is the subsoiler function of it. And then this is the cultivator to finish it, right? But if we stop and only this part has moved across the surface of the field, does that mean only that part that's subsoil, plowed essentially, but it doesn't get the finish? I don't know. I don't think I've ever used this thing. So we are exactly on 90 degrees. All right, we have an offset, which I'm curious about. Let's try this. Boom. So left Alt W is to reset. Left Control W is to follow a course. We're going to slow down a little bit. Then we're going to turn this thing on. Right? We're going to lower it. Interesting. It looks like both textures come from the ripper part. And then that thing at the back, I don't know what that's doing. Yeah, just decorative. Just decorative. Okay, so the middle portion of the implement is what does everything. That does the ripping and the cultivating. And then that thing on the back is just a bit of a visual aid. Okay, cool. And we are injecting fertilizer. So we're saving one, I don't know, pass, one evolution on this field. If we go here, and back that down a little bit. Beautiful. You know, the thing about that variable spray rate mod is, why would you ever not have it turned down? It's like the low setting on a microwave. What am I using that for? So it's not a variable spray rate mod, it's a reduced spray rate mod, because I have to think that everybody who uses it just reduces their spray rate. Wouldn't you think? Right, and oh man, we are barely using fertilizer. Let's take a look. When we get done with this row, Let's take a look and see if we actually put any in here. Yeah, it's dropping. It's just dropping very, very slowly. So this is like an extraordinarily efficient way of delivering fertilizer. Yeah. We've used like, I don't know, 15 liters in this whole row. That seems a bit low, but I mean, we do have the mod running. Oh yeah, this is going to take a minute. This is going to take a minute at 6 meters. But you know what? Our Jimpa plow that we used first time was 5.7 meters, and we did both these fields. So we'll get it done. And if anything, we're saving time with this because it's the same width or even a little wider than the first plow we used. But this is also injecting fertilizer, so we're saving some time there because we won't have to come back and hit it a second time with fertilizer. Yeah, you see what I'm saying. Now, my only question is, because it is fertilized right now and because our planter has a fertilized function also, is when we hit it with the planter, is that fertilizer going to take, or is it going to essentially not allow it because the field has already been fertilized? You know what I'm talking about. You can't fertilize 2 times in a row. Or can you in 19? Now I'm curious. Okay, so I have been told by a real farmer that making turns the way I do would snap the tines off some of my implements. And I certainly don't want to snap off a tine. No, I do not. So we're going to try to make this, you know what? We're not. We're going to come right here and skip a row, as you do. We're going to drop, and here we go. We can fix that on the headland. So now, let's try this too. We are in exactly 90 degrees. When we get to the end of this row, I'm going to switch from cruise control and GPS to a hired worker, and I'm going to see how they handle the end of the row in an articulated tractor with this great big long implement on here. Let's see what they're made of. Let's check their moxie. Hang on, I gotta have coffee. And when I say I have to have coffee, I mean I have to have coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink like 1 cup in the morning, and then sometimes I'll have a Coke around noon. So I'm not like hooked on caffeine or anything, but it definitely is something I need to get my day started. Right. Could be your screenshot. Moment, please. Oh, interesting. Okay. Because it wasn't on a worker, it was on cruise control. So I guess that'll have to be now. Now that we've ruined it. Right. Back in here. Back on cruise control. Yeah, it's a fun map. It's a good map. I just don't know if it's got the kind of legs I'm looking for. Don't know if it'd be cool for a long time. But absolutely having a blast playing with all this equipment that I never get to play with. Right. Moment of truth. Well, almost. In a minute. Oh, we came off GPS too. Interesting. So we'll put it back on there. We weren't that far off course, but I just noticed that we lost our green down on the HUD. Okay. Living and learning. Living and learning. All right, I think, let's do it from here because it needs a little prep time. All right. Okay. Completed their task, right? So we want to come off of that. We want to turn this on. Ah, there's your problem. We set it up for the other 9, but not this one. Okay, we are at 270. Let's get rid of this. Let's see how this thing does. And I guess we have course play as an option now too, but I feel like course play would really struggle with this thing. It's just because it's what, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 articulation points, maybe more. I'm curious what the worker even does with it, the base worker. Although there are articulated tractors in base game, and this is base game. This is a base game implement, so you would think that a base game worker could handle it. However, base game workers, for several iterations of this game, for several generations of this game, base game workers are famous for just like taking off across the map and driving into a pond. So, who's to say? All right, lifting. Man, we don't really even care about our neighbors. Oh dear. Now, it's okay that it's going to come and do this middle row. I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to see if it could make the turn at all. And it seems like it can. Now, the tricky one is going to be at the other end of the field because that's the one with the trees. And it's going to have to back up. And I don't know if it can back this thing up. But in the meantime, we've at least got some kind of progress going. And we are no longer injecting fertilizer. Sir? Hang on. Got to make this happen too. Now, when we go to a worker, okay, if you turn it on first, if you turn the sprayer on first and then put it on a worker, okay, living and learning. Let's call it right there. Let's zoom in here. There we go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 19. This is Knuston, or Knuston, or Knuston. We'll see you next time. Take care now.